Hello everyone, it's Carol here at Oak House Journals. Thank you so much for popping by my channel again today. I'm going to tackle another one of Margarete Miller's Collage Weekly Planner assignments for 2023. It's part of her 2023 challenge and I'm going to tackle assignment number 35. So this is the list of prompts. And this is the lightweight card that I'm going to be working on. And as always, I've drawn a pencil border all the way round. I've also got another piece of the same card, but this time I've cut it to inside the border. And the reason I've done that is because I might need to work on this to create my collage and then glue it onto my page, but you'll see why in a moment, or I'll explain why in a moment. So let's go through the prompts. First prompt is a flower. Now I'm not sure where I'm going in terms of what flower I'm going to use on my piece. I've got some options here, and the reason I don't know what flower I want to use is because I'd like to see how my collage comes together and then decide if I need a really bright pop of colour on my page or something more muted. So I've lifted out a few here that may well fit the bill for either of those options. As you can see, I've got a clematis here that's partially cut out, and I've also got a fuchsia here that's partially cut out, and I've also got an image of a campanula. I've got a rose image here in more neutral tones. So I've got some options there to use, and if not, I've got a couple of books lifted out and perhaps find something that is more suitable if one of these doesn't fit the bill. The second prompt is a postal item. Well, I've got this little envelope here, and as you can see, it's got a lovely embossed oval in the centre of it. So I thought I would use that. I may well pick out a stamp to go on here. Not sure yet, but that's a possibility. The third prompt is something written in your non-dominant hand. Now, you should have heard the audible groan that escaped my lips when I read that that was the prompt, or one of the prompts today. I am absolutely useless at writing with my left hand. My right hand is my dominant hand, so obviously my non-dominant hand is my left hand, and I just can't do it. I can't write anything legible. And what I was thinking I would do would be to write the name of the flower that I use in the prompt. So I really don't want to be using something like campanula or fuchsia or even clematis. I need something short and sweet like rose or ivy. Obviously I can't use ivy because it doesn't have flowers, but I really need something short and sweet. Now, when I've tried this before on a previous assignment, I ended up having to actually write the word out with my dominant hand and trace over the letters with my non-dominant hand to get something that was half passable. So I may well have to do that again this time round. So please excuse me for that little cheat if I decide I need to go down that route. Okay, so the next prompt, a security envelope design. Well, I've got a few here. I've been saving these for another project. So I've got various ones. I've got a grey here, I've got red, I've got a pale blue and a dark blue. The reason I have got that extra piece of card is because I think the one that is going to work best against this. Now this is the bonus prompt, which was sheet music. I think the colour that will work best against that, for what I have in mind, is this dark blue. And the reason I've got that extra sheet of paper is because I may well need to do some paper piecing to get coverage on my background, because I've only got one piece there that is a full-size piece. Then I've got this portion here and this portion here, so I might do a bit of jiggery pokery with that to get it to fit on my page. If it's not going to work, then I'll have to resort to one of these three colours there. So let's just pop those to one side for the time being. So as I've mentioned, this is the bonus prompt, and we are still short of one other prompt, and that is lace. So I've got two options here. This small piece of vintage lace that I have left. Now this is absolutely lovely. and this is all I have left of it, and it's like liquid gold to me, this one. It's beautiful. So I might use a portion of that. I don't know, I need to again feel my way with this one and see how it looks when I get to that point in the collage. So I've got that piece, but my fallback piece is a piece of contemporary wedding veil lace, and this is absolutely stunning. Look at this, it's beautiful. Obviously I've got these little flowers in some netting up here that I can use, but I'm seriously hoping I can get one of these little decorative scallops in down here. As I've mentioned, I've got two options or two pieces that I can choose from. The first thing is to get these three pieces to fit on my page to give me a border around the outside. It doesn't matter if I've got a gap in the middle or a white portion in the middle, that won't matter, because that will be covered up with these two pieces. So I'm just going to have a play here and work out how best I can get these onto my page, and once they're done I'll glue them down and I will come back. I know I said that I would come back to you when this was glued onto my piece of card, but I've come back before that because I thought I needed to do a little bit of an explanation. What I plan to do is I'm going to glue these two strips here, this little strip down the side here and this strip here, because I'm going to use this clematis, and if I fussy cut it and take away this white and have it where I want on my piece, then I am going to have some of this showing through, and I don't want that. So if I glue those portions and not this, I may well be able to use a little portion of this one to patch into here, because what I'm thinking is I will have my envelope on there something like that. I will have a piece of this up in this corner and possibly another piece down here, and then have this going behind and over the top of my envelope. So that's what I'm thinking, that's where my head's going. I've paper pieced my background here and just trimmed it again to size, and as you can see I've got a white portion here, and I've taken that portion and pieced it over on this side, which I think is going to give me a better overall balance all round. I've gone in and I've also fussy cut the rest of my clematis, and I've deliberately not kept it intact because, as I mentioned before, I want to have part in the background and part going over the top of my envelope, or that's the plan. And as for my envelope, as you can see, I've opened it out and I've cut out the centre aperture of that embossed oval there. So I will be closing that up in a minute like that and put it back on my piece. I've auditioned my lace in the aperture, and this one, as you can see, is not going to be wide enough for me to use in that aperture, so I'm going to go with this one here, and for that I'm just going to take a small section and snip it away because I want to try and use this bit at the bottom here. Probably going to have to trim that down some more, but that's all I'm going to do for now. And I'm going to get a piece of this. Now this is just the acetate that you put round cupcakes, and I'm just going to get a piece and just fold it in half like that. Let me move that to one side and put a crease in it like that, and then I'm just going to chop it at the bottom. And again, this is just rough. I'm going to have to trim this all up in 1 second. So let's just put that away. And as you've guessed, I'm going to put my piece of lace in here and then put it in the aperture and close up my envelope. So let's see how we get on. So that piece needs to fit inside my envelope. So I just need to check that it's going to be the right size, and no it isn't, so I'm just going to bring in my guillotine and trim it. Just check that that will fit in there. And there we go. Yes, it will. So it'll fit in there quite nicely like that. So let's open that out and put my piece of lace inside. And that is more or less right. So let me just close this up and have another look. So I'm just going to have it so that my lace is peeping through like that. I need to move it over a little bit because, as you can see, one of the diamantes, the little gems, is showing, and I don't want it to be showing. So I'm going to glue this down. And there we have it. So I was thinking that I could use my, let's pull that piece of leaf off. So I was thinking I could have my envelope something like this, with my leaves dangling over the top. And I've just pulled that one off, but that doesn't matter, I can glue it on. So I was thinking something like that. This was the leaf that was up here, so perhaps I could have that on there like that, take this one over a little bit more like that, and have that one there, and then have this down here. Yeah, I'm liking having this piece coming off here. I probably will cut away part of that stem, and I can have that piece there, maybe drop that other bit down a little bit more here like that perhaps. So maybe something like that. I could use a piece of the sheet music behind. I'm losing this portion, so I might as well make use of it and cut it away. Now this piece could actually go in the back here like that. Yeah, that's working for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue behind. I was hoping to put a stamp up in that corner, but it doesn't matter. It was just a vague idea I had, and I like how this is all overlapping. Yes, I'm liking that, where it comes all the way around. So I'm thinking that, like I had with this piece, it might be nice just to have a little bit of music paper. Now I could use just that scrap in there like that. But the only other thing I've got to get on here is the writing my non-dominant hand. And I thought I could put a piece of paper in here. So I'm actually wondering if I need to have a bigger piece of this on here. Maybe not too much, but just a bigger piece. So maybe something like that. So I'm going to rip it across the bottom here. And my writing with my non-dominant hand, I can either have there or here. I think that might have to just be there, like that. Yeah, I'm liking that. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to glue this. And the other thing that's occurring to me is whether or not I want to put a line of cream coloured machine stitching to pick up the colour of this paper on this background piece, and I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to take it away now before I glue this envelope down and the flower down, and I'm going to stitch it on my machine round here. This is my finished page all done and dusted. You will have seen me layer up a few scraps of paint splattered glassine bag with a little piece of the front cover from an old book. I wrote over the top of it with my dominant hand the word clematis, and then went over that in a black pen with my non-dominant hand. Probably cheating a little bit, but that's the best I could do. But actually I'm quite impressed with that, because this came out much better than the last time I tried writing with my non-dominant hand. So it just shows practice does help you improve. I had a tiny little scrap of this security envelope design, which I chopped in half, and I just put a little bit underneath there and a little bit underneath at the top, just to kind of blend it in with the background a little bit. I've stitched all the way around with 3 lines of machine stitching in a creamy colour, just to kind of hold the eye in towards the centre and stop it sort of drifting out. Or that was my thought process, and also it just seemed like it needed something doing at the edges there. So quickly through the prompts. A flower, well, I've gone for my clematis plant, fussy cut and dotted down this right hand side. A postal item, I've got my envelope here. I decided to dispense with the idea that I mentioned at the start that I might add a stamp, because this was covering up that top corner perfectly, so I felt I didn't need it. Something written in your non-dominant hand, well, I've just covered that with you. I've mentioned this little piece here. A security envelope design, well, this was my security envelope paper, and I just pieced it together to make sure I'd got enough to act as a border on my page, or a background on my page all the way around. Lace, I had this gorgeous piece of wedding veil lace that I sandwiched between a couple of pieces of acetate and put inside this window there. And finally, bonus prompt, sheet music. Well, I've got this piece in the background there. So that's my finished piece. I hope you like seeing it come together. And as always, I'll put some photographs at the end of the video for you to have a closer look, so that you can see in more detail what I've done. And please pop by and join me next week for the next in the series of this Margarete Miller Collage Weekly Planner Challenge, when I do assignment number 36. So until then, everybody, have a great week. Bye for now. Bye.